There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. The Yonkō Table has set sail yet again into Marvel Madness, this time into the penultimate episode of Miss Marvel herself. We are in the preseason finale for this season or this limited run, whatever you want to call it. And emotions are across the board for this episode, to say the least. Some really liked it, some really didn't. But we are here to deep dive it and get into the nitty gritty and really see what makes Miss Marvel tick, or dare I say the Great Partition. What makes the Great Partition tick? Because that's what this episode was about. But with me to dissect this episode, as always, is fellow Yonkō, GrandMasterHoop. Grandmaster, are you an Aisha stan now? You have an Aisha background.
I just saw a bunch of Twitter posts saying how Phase 4 has been doing well by the couples and their hotness level, or their what does Dr. Rika call it? The thirst? The thirst. Yeah, they've been doing a good job with the thirst. So yes, I'm an Aisha stan.
I see.
I wish I was Hassan. But it's okay. It's all right. I'll be okay. But yes.
Good. Glad you're okay. But we are not alone to deep dive this episode. With us, as always, our fellow Supernovas here to discuss the episode today. And let's get into it. Penultimate episode, right? The episode before the season finale. I'm just going to throw the question out there. Did it even feel like this was an episode that leads into a season finale? I felt like in a way this was like the last episode because it resolved most of the plots that were going on, and they really didn't have all that interesting resolutions, in my opinion. But either way, whether they were interesting or not, they still resolved them. And then at the end of the episode, we get that little, oh, well, what's happening with this guy? Well, what's happening with these characters? And then roll to credits, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess episode 6 will cover that. So what did you guys think overall about this penultimate episode? Something that's supposed to get you geared up for a season finale. Did it gear you up? Are you kind of just done with the show, or are you excited to see what Damage Control is going to do for the finale?
I'm going to say this show, and we've been talking about it these past couple of weeks, it just doesn't seem to know what it wants. Because you're absolutely right. When the main conflict was resolved, it does feel what's next. Because literally, I have no idea what's going to be next. Because the CDC, I don't think, are the big bad. So unless they pull out some convoluted thing where what was given here with Najma is not actually what it seems to be, we have no idea where the finale is leading. It seems like a forced extra conflict with the CDC getting Bruno and Kamran. So it's weird. It doesn't feel necessarily, it felt you could have wrapped things up here. It felt you could have just, if you extended the episode a little longer, you really could have wrapped it up here. However, with that said, that was probably the biggest thing I was like, didn't like. This episode does some things right, and I'm gonna get into it when we get there. However, it's at the behest of the overall series, and it's a limited series, and you can't really do that here. But I'm gonna get into it later. But that's where I stand right now. I'm clueless to how it's gonna end.
Okay. Toasty, I guess you could go second.
Yeah, it was garbage. That's all I have to say. Really. It was utter garbage.
Come on, man.
No, I'm not kidding. This show, I mentioned to you earlier, if I recommended this show to somebody based on episode 1, I would feel like a shit ass right now, based on where the show is right now. It's such
You would
a
feel
big
terrible
jump.
about recommending the show to someone.
Yes, it's such a big jump between episode 1 and episode 5. The quality of the show just seemed to went down. And we saw it right now. We're going to get into it. Like, the story makes no sense. I don't understand why. The thing that happened at the end, it makes no sense why it happened in this episode. I feel it should have happened a couple episodes ago. And maybe that would help for the later episode. But not, yeah. I don't know what they're doing, dude. I have no idea what they're doing. I feel like they're gonna put an asshole and they're gonna introduce a random villain at the last minute, and that's gonna be their golden ticket, thinking people are gonna get excited. Or next week episode just won't have anything on there. It'll be 30 minutes of us wasting our time. That is it.
Go ahead.
Or maybe, just maybe, the group, the CDC, is that what they call them?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For God's sake.
Oh my God, they're called the CDC. I just realized.
Oh no, it's maybe
Is it? It's not. Is it CDC?
It's not the CDC.
Okay,
it's
not
damage
the
control.
It's damage control. I thought you were adding another letter because their full name is something else.
Well, they're the Center for Damage Control.
DDC.
DDC, Department of Damage Control.
Yeah.
And you were saying CDC as Coalition of Damage Control.
Maybe. Who knows? Irrelevant.
CDC, good.
But you see,
Okay.
I feel like maybe they're gonna get this guy, Rams Cameron, and they're probably gonna introduce him to a new set of heroes, a new set of villains that he has to fight. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm thinking they're gonna do. Honestly,
Okay.
I don't know what else they can do. There's literally no plot. Everything that was getting set up this entire season was resolved in a way, even though it was done badly, it was resolved this episode. There's nothing else that was hinted at. There's not, unless you guys know something, I don't know. And unless I was on my phone too much during the episode because I was bored, there's nothing else left. The only thing they could probably do is maybe the mom or the grandmother, Aisha, is alive. That's the only twist they can
No,
have.
Aisha's dead.
She is dead. She is gone.
I mean, I didn't see a body. I didn't see a dead body.
What do you
saw
mean?
the
There was a
light-
body.
You saw the light leave her eyes.
She was
dead.
maybe that was her power.
But see,
She's
that's the
evolving.
thing. It has reached the point where they're pulling stuff out of their ass.
Yeah.
Because if they make Aisha alive or if Najma lives, it doesn't make sense. I mean, they're gonna have to explain it in the episode.
You want to talk about ass pulls? We'll save it for the end, but there's something a bit of an ass pull towards the end of the episode, which is with the whole veal,
The veil.
the
Try the veal.
the vial. But
Mhm.
something's there, and we'll get into it once we get to that part. But
Okay.
let's dial it back a bit, because apparently the whole season was building up to this moment, the partition of India, right?
Right, but hold on. I want to give my opinion on the episode real
You're
quick.
driving.
I am not driving anymore. I
Excellent.
think that we still have a couple of questions that we need to answer, right? So we need to figure out what is going on with this other bangle, because we saw the green bangle and not the purple bangle, and now where is this green bangle? We have to figure out how she sent her powers to Kamran, because that to me was like a little bit of a plot hole that it just fit because it worked. So we have to kind of see where that's going. Is he like possessed by his mom? Does he have these powers that we don't know about? Like that are like, did this just like awaken something? How is he able to do this stuff without a bangle? So there's a little bit of explanation that needs to happen there. And we have to see how this ties into the Miss Marvel movie or the Marvels movie, because why is Captain Danvers going to care anything about Kamala Khan at this point, you know?
Because the bangles are cosmic.
Are there two
Yeah.
bangles?
There
Yeah,
are
they
two
are.
bangles. There are two bangles.
One of them was captured by the British before they found the one that Aisha had. But
Oh,
Again,
so we
it's one
still
of those-
haven't even seen it. The other one.
yeah, it's one of those plot
Right.
things that
Yeah,
are
but
missing. And
the
Darce
mom's
Min-
is great.
The mom, was it green? I thought it was.
Yeah, it was green. And
I thought it was just a color that it turned depending on what.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
ability
the
it's
same
turning.
bangle that
Yeah.
Aisha.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's the
So
same bangle. We have to figure out where's the second one.
We haven't found the second one. We know the British likely have it, but so dialing it back to the partition, right? Because this is where Kamala ultimately ends up. She's in 1942 India, and I'll be honest, it was a little interesting to see the little history lesson, and at the very beginning, you know, they mentioned the partition of India and the 200 years of oppressive British rule and how India gained its independence. That part was cool. My problem with the partition is that if they're gearing up to really go into this history lesson on this significant point in India's India's history, I feel like they barely did anything with explaining the different factions or the different sides to what exactly went down. I feel like the main point was the British were oppressors. They got kicked out, or not that they got kicked out. India won its independence from them, and then the country started splitting itself apart. From there, I feel like the partition was kind of just thrown at the backboard, you know, because I cannot tell you anything else about the partition other than India gained its independence from Britain and split up. That's it.
There's some more levels to it that they alluded to.
There is, but I feel like the show, or at least this episode that is centered in the partition, doesn't do enough to explain that.
Okay,
when it takes place in that time period.
No, I can tell you right now, this was one of the worst historical interpretation I've ever seen. Like, I literally do history for a living, and it was so cookie cutter that it just jumped around. You mentioned it before. They show British oppression. Yeah, whatever. We all know this. Move on. India get independence. We get it. They show Gandhi. They show a couple other leaders of early India and Pakistan. They show you a quick map showing the country separated. They don't explain why the country separated into two. They don't explain why people are running away. And they don't explain things like, for example, the neighbors stopped selling food to Aisha's husband and they stopped talking to Aisha. None of those are explained. In reality, the reason why it happened is because when India gained independence, it was one country. We all know this. But there's a faction of the country that was led by what would become the Pakistani government that wanted to create their own homeland for Muslim Hindus or Muslim Indians. Obviously, that meant taking away land from India. So if you were Hindu, you started hating the Muslim because now there was a faction of Muslim that wanted to carve a piece of your country to form their own country. That's just a basic, simplified version of what happened. Obviously, it's more complicated. There was more clownery with it, and it's way more difficult to explain, but even that cannot be explained. This is something that was not alluded to. I saw the video, I'm like, dude, anybody that watches this and has no idea what's going on, is only gonna know, like you mentioned, British came in, British bad, British left, out of nowhere, Muslims are running away. They don't explain to you why, even though the husband was a local leader, by the way. He was a local leader and he was beloved. This is something that is shown when he was talking to the crowd saying, it doesn't matter if you're Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, we all have to stand against British oppression. So him going from a local leader to being shunned is not explained. That is horrible storytelling. And it seemed that they just only want to show the family or as victim in a way when they're not. Like, they need to show exactly what happened to make them be treated like this. I mean, I don't know, dude. It pisses me off. And for me, it goes back to what we said a couple weeks ago. They have a check mark, British bad, partition, train. Oh yeah, there we go. We hit our check mark. We don't need to explain more. To me, that is insulting. Why try to cookie cutter a history lesson if you're not going to teach anything? Move on and just have a show.
Honestly, I think it was Nino that mentioned in our chat a couple weeks ago. He mentioned like it was either a documentary or a movie. And he was saying, if you want to learn about the partition of India, check out this. And it was like a movie or a show or something. Yeah. I need to go back and check the name. I honestly might do that just because I'm not watching Miss Marvel to learn about the partition of. I'm not watching an MCU, show to learn about the partition of India. But when they put that as their forefront, they keep
In every
alluding
episode,
to it in every episode.
single episode.
It's like, okay, so you guys clearly want to talk about it. I guess I can't wait until you guys talk about it, and to see that it was kind of just I guess in a way, kind of like an elementary school level, like a basic knowledge of what happened. I don't know. It's just I just kind of shrugged my shoulders at it the whole time. Like
I can tell you right now, they didn't want to offend anybody. They're going into one of the most complicated time in human history. It was one of the biggest movement of people in the 20th century. There was obviously crime, genocide, all kind of issues on both sides. If you're gonna go into this, you're expected to offend both groups. And if you show too much bias toward a group, the other one is gonna get pissed and you have to backtrack. That's what they didn't want to do.
So you're saying Disney took a centrist route on
the
show?
They were fence sitting.
Or
they
on this issue with the partition.
Obviously, which is why it was easy to blame the British. Everybody hates the British. It's an easy thing to do.
They're colonizer.
They're a colonizer. Let's bring the British. Let's move on. But they are not willing to go to the deep point and say, y'all, this is really one of the most dangerous things that ever happened in human history. But no, that's just British bad.
They do such a weird way of portraying the British bad, because we have this scene with Aisha in the very beginning, right? She's running away, and you have this imperialist chasing her, and she's like, "Oi, stop there! Where are you going?" And then she turns around and throws a knife at him.
We don't know why he was chasing her. We don't know if she was a criminal.
Maybe he just wanted to give her directions.
Or maybe she stole from somebody. We don't know.
Maybe she stole like I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to help her out, and she just threw a knife, and this guy's dead. All right, I guess. Yeah, he's a colonizer bad. There. Throw a knife.
I can tell you right now. For as American, the equivalent of that would be if they show a scene about slavery. The first scene is a scene showing blacks getting into boats. Then it skipped to MLK speaking to the crowd during the Million Men March, and it skipped to Obama. That would be the equivalent of what they show to us. You getting those three specific scenes as a foreigner, you would have no idea about the issues of slavery in America.
Oh, you meant the jump without explaining the
without explaining. Okay. Yeah, okay. Imagine if the three major scenes you got over slavery was people getting on a boat, people are bad, Americans are bad, slavery is bad. MLK speaking in front of during the Million Men March, and then you have Obama speaking also when he became president. That's the equivalent of what we got. Anybody that's non-American getting those three specific images or short 30-second clip, you can't explain what slavery is. You can't explain how bad slavery was in America. Right. This is what they did with the partition. And it's aggravating, man. Like, it's such... like, why didn't they just do a superhero show? I didn't want a history lesson, for God's sake. And if you are going to do it right. Like, Forrest Gump did it better. Let's go with that. Forrest Gump
did it better. That's right. Forrest Gump was a history lesson. I forgot.
Did it better. But I'm done rambling about the history portion. It's just aggravating because that's what I do for a living.
I mean, well, no, I mean, it's a major portion of the episode. I think if there's any time to complain about it, if you have complaints, it's probably here, because we're not going to talk about it next week, because next week is going to be...
unless they bring up the goddamn partition again, which they will. They will. What?
We got to go back to the past again to find the second bangle.
To save Aisha.
Well, let's talk about Aisha.
Absolutely not. How dare you not let me talk about this?
Well, you didn't say anything. What?
I was waiting for y'all to finish. By
all means, if you have a hot take,
y'all are missing the bigger picture here.
Please,
you need to understand. This whole beginning sequence was 20 minutes of the episode. It is 50% of the episode.
Yes.
And it does something that no other Marvel film has ever dared to even try. They give you a historical look at partition, and they give you perspective of what is going on, Is it a lukewarm perspective? Yes, because their job here is not to give you a history lesson. It is in the same sense of when people say we're tired of watching slavery-based movies. We already know what happened during slavery. We already know the atrocities. Marvel's goal was not to show you the atrocities of partition, because I know of other movies. For example, Slumdog Millionaire does not take place during partition, but it shows how the raids on Muslim communities still happen in India and they kill everybody. So,
but that's modern India. That's like years. That's currently.
Yeah. I know. That's what I'm saying. They're showing the after effects still of what's going on. So with that said, I applaud Marvel for being so bold and inspired to take 20 minutes, 50% of a 40-minute episode to put the shine here on this group of people and giving you just a taste of what they experience. Because like you two both just said, here we are now having a conversation about it. Dr. Jace, you now mentioned a movie or a documentary that Nino has mentioned, if you want to learn more. If that is the goal right there, as far as just a minuscule goal, I think they got it across. And I'm okay with, because again, a good storytelling is not giving you everything all at once. It would have been really easy to show kind of the violence going on, but I don't think they didn't want to depict that. However, you do get a sense of, because there is a time jump between when Hassan was given that speech, the community leader, to where now the neighbor is treating him differently. And, again, it's very mild. They're not going to outright just say, oh, he's Muslim, he's Hindu, so he's going to attack him. They're just going to.
Why not?
Because that's not their goal. Because at the end of the day.
My problem with that, though, is when that scene happened, when I'm supposed to be sucked into this theme of the partition and what's happening, I get pulled out when something
because
like
you
that
don't know
happens.
what's going on.
Partition is not the theme, though, and that's
not the partition. This whole time period and what's going on, they're trying to educate you on what's happening. They are. What pulls me out is when you get a scene like that with what you just said, where you have what's the husband's name? Hassan is having a complaint with that neighbor that comes over, and he's saying, why isn't this guy selling milk anymore to my wife? Or why is he not buying products from me anymore? Is it because I'm Muslim? And right there, for me, just as wanting to watch this and them give me a history lesson, I'm like, wait, I don't understand. Why? What's the issue with this?
Because that scene doesn't stop there, though. That scene stops with Aisha reassuring, Hassan that, our love is stronger. We have our daughter. That is what's most important. We don't need to keep our roots here, home. Because the whole thing with the whole flashback, when it really comes down to it comes down to being about where your home is, and that makes sense. And here's where they start tying it back to the overall plot. Aisha found home with Hassan and the daughter, right? Sana. Everything else did not matter to her. She understood what was going on, but then the reason why they left is because, and again, this is tying it back to Marvel. Again, their overall goal is not to depict the Muslim versus Hindu conflict. And that's what I was saying.
But they still want to touch on it.
This is what I'm saying as far as the checkbox thing and kind of the setting. All right. Yeah. You understand their plight more, but you're not supposed to watch this coming out a full partition, Oh no, you're not supposed to, but they should at least give you some kind of hint. Like somebody like me, when I saw that scene, I didn't raise any question, but other people who see this scene are not going to understand. And that makes the show weaker. The point of the show,
because my thing with that is I don't think the show should be a detriment to itself to then have me go out and say, well, it did get me interested in learning about the partition. I might check out Nino's the show that he recommended or the movie, whatever it is. I feel like the show the show, Miss Marvel, should not suffer to make something like that happen, or at least the episode. I feel like the episode shouldn't suffer in that regard because they chose to not touch on something that they brought up.
But
I don't think it's suffering. This part of the episode, I believe, is the strongest part of the episode.
But you
like
which part? The one where they're reassuring
in the
each
past,
other?
In the past.
Oh,
it's the
past.
strongest part of the episode.
But let me tell you how that could have been solved. They wasted the beginning showing clips. They could literally have shown a 30-second clip showing how the situation got destroyed after India became a country to explain why the neighbors are not speaking to our son. That's all they need to do. They need to show a short clip saying India is in disaster right now. Blah, blah, blah. Bullet points. Boom.
Yeah.
And that would have given a little bit more context to why the neighbors hated him.
But I think with Toasty's point, I think it's just Disney fence sitting. I really feel like they did not want to anger any side regarding like what was happening in this partition. So they kind of just took like a vanilla approach. Here's the very world-like view of what is happening with the partition. And then they don't explain certain aspects of it in detail. Because once they do, like Toasty was saying earlier, it's going to paint one side over the other, or there's going to be a bias between one. I don't know, man. And the only reason why I'm giving it this much attention, because in any other show, I likely wouldn't even care that much about it. I would just say, oh, well, it's a minor detail. It's not that big a deal. They've been building up to this in every episode of Miss Marvel. And that is my problem. They kept giving Cookie like, not cookie cutter, but hints.
Crumbs. They kept giving you crumbs.
Yeah, they were leaving a breadcrumb trail throughout the entire season. And in my mind, as someone that's realized, and we said it before, this show is becoming more about the partition of India rather than a Marvel superhero show. So if that's the route they're taking, so my mind is now thinking, well, if this is what we're going to learn about, I hope they do a great job teaching me about it then. So now we're in the episode where they're going to teach us, and it's like, don't give a lukewarm attempt at it. Do it right.
You have to understand that is not the goal of this show.
But that's what they kept doing.
But they
no. They did not. They mentioned partition because that is a big part of their culture and their history.
But to mention it every episode,
their job was not to give you the history lesson. I don't believe they're fence sitting. I believe, again, their goal was not to depict violence. Everybody knows it was violent. They didn't want to show that.
Honestly, I would argue it's the opposite. Most Americans would not know about the violence of this show. Most people that are watching this show in this country have no idea about it. They did not know that 20 million people had to switch and leave their house. That was just not a simple event. Like I mentioned, it was one of the largest migration, and people who will just watch this episode probably don't even know about that. They probably think a few people and a few time left. For me, that's horribly done. And again,
I agree.
My point is they could have just shown a 30-second clip. Show me a 30-second clip telling me how did they go from India being independent to people losing their mind and a bunch of people having to run to a train station to bail out.
You have to understand, it is still a Marvel show.
Why does it want it to be Marvel? It doesn't want to be Marvel.
They have to tie it back into Marvel. And so what I've been trying to say is that I still believe they did a good job. And again, this is a depiction you will never see in any other Marvel movie. You have to give them the props. You have to give them props for trying. You have to give them props for what they did. And you got to give them props for they didn't show the worst of it, but the train station itself was pretty impactful. But with that all said, I will say this, as far as when you're talking about breadcrumbs, for the breadcrumbs to lead to just Najma getting stabbed was not worth it. And that is what
Najma was stabbed?
Sorry. Aisha being stabbed by Najma was not worth it. As far as tying it back to the greater plot of this series, for her only just to get stabbed, that buildup did not suffice.
I agree.
Okay. Well, I feel like we've harked on the partition of India long enough. There's other stuff in the episode
True.
that
very
happened.
true.
Wait, I just want to make like one quick point is that in the previous podcast that we did, we talked about how the culture basically was like a character of its own. We dove deep into like the city, we dove deep into like the roots and everything that's happening within the culture of Miss Marvel. So in a way, us getting led down by like not diving deeper into the partition was like kind of like a character flaw. Like we kind of were like, hey, like we need a little bit more character development in this. I don't know. I agree with most of y'all that like we needed a little bit more I guess a deeper dive into the partition, even if it was like Toasty was saying 30 seconds.
I think we all made our line, our feet in the sand where we stand on this partition thing. Some of us wanted more. Some of us were fine with what we got. Let's actually talk about the characters in the show. Starting with Aisha herself. So let's get into it. Aisha, this is our first proper introduction into the character. We did see her in episode 3, I think, with that brief flashback with the 10 rings, and she got separated from Najma from there, but we didn't really know much about her. She was just this mystery girl from 1942 India, and that's about all we got. We know she's Aisha's great-grandmother. I'm sorry, Kamala's great-grandmother, and that's about it. But now we get an introduction to her character, and I just want to know what you guys think, because for me, I feel like there's no character to really look into with Aisha.
I kind of agree with that. Like, this person was just, first of all, we know that she came from a different dimension.
Right.
So there's like no real lead into that. And then this person that is coming from a different dimension can't really talk about like the things that are happening with like thousands of years of like religious like activity that's going on, to just be like, oh, don't worry, everything's going to be okay, even though you don't really have any sort of like backstory on what's happening around you. I also don't really know when Aisha came to Earth, so like we don't really, was Aisha part of like the Eternals team that came in and is like basically immortal?
She's not an Eternal.
I know she's not an Eternal, but
it would have been nice to know if she was. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, she's definitely not an Eternal. It's just like, but when did she come to Earth, and how long has she been? Well, we know she died quickly in 1942, but
well, that's the other problem, is that here we are given Aisha during this time period, and for the most part, we just learned, oh, she's a good mother and she's a good wife.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Good job.
She did it. She put her family before that bitch Najma.
Why is Najma so mean? Like,
because Najma wants to go home. Maybe
like,
Najma has a family home.
But that's my problem, is that I mean, yes, I enjoy our conversation about the partition, whether what side we stand on, whatever. We don't know anything about the clandestines and the Veil and their home. And I really hope in the finale they don't have to.
I don't think they will.
But that's so bad, because we don't know anything.
That's because they wanted to teach you about the partition.
Which is fine, except, and again, that's my whole thing, is that
do not complain.
No, I'm not.
Do not criticize.
My final point about the partition was they didn't tie it back into the main story, except for Aisha getting stabbed by Najma. That was it.
Actually, better question. With the Jinn, do we know if they have powers or not? Like, what is their deal?
We have no.
We don't. I'm confused.
We don't know what, because again, you had the characters taking out the belt and the hammer.
We have no,
but we don't
definitive.
Right, we don't know if that's an ability that they have, or maybe that's a weapon that they actually have. Or
why did her eyes turn purple? Why did her eyes turn purple at the end? None of that is explained.
Why did their eyes turn purple? there's and
Why did they
again,
turn into crystals? What is going
And-
on? Like,
So I have a theory with that. I think that when it comes to them about to die, they have like a last resort, like kind of like your body's fight or flight type thing. It's their light kind of leaving them. So it gives them one last bit of energy that they're allowed to put out, kind of like one last wish, like a djinn or a genie.
I
And,
guess.
with her whispering those words, like Grandmaster Hoop, you're good at quotes. What was the
Whatever's
quote?
seeking, what you seek is seeking you.
So with her whispering that into like the bracelet, like I feel like that was the opening to get Kamala there, which I usually don't say this, so this is hard for me to say, but Ethan told us so and he was right. Whatever. I thought it was going to be a vision, but I guess she did get teleported into the past.
And created a loop theory.
Just like
And-
Futurama. That's what
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
it's a
yeah.
time travel thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's so
Yeah.
weird because so the bangles are basically in a way like the Infinity Stones that
No.
can send you back in time.
No, because did they
How,
explain
how
that
did they go back
Infinity-
in time in Endgame?
They
the Infinity
used the
Stone.
quantum realm.
The quantum
the
realm.
quantum
Okay,
realm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
this is not
Really?
that. This is not that.
But it's like so they're not using interdimensional travel. I
But they're
guess.
from another
using-
dimension. If
They-
it can go to another dimension, it can go across space and time. So if it can go across space and time, we have to assume it's allowed to go backward in time also.
Oh,
Basically,
God, that's
it
just-
sounds
oh.
like the Nord dimension. And I don't want to get into theories too much because they just need to explain what's going on.
They're not.
The Nord dimension is like Loki's
Oh.
people. What are those people called?
Asgardians.
No.
Frost Giants. Frost
No,
Giants.
in the show, Loki.
Loki's-
The time people.
Oh, like the TVA?
The
Oh,
TVA. Time stands still or
Parallel-
runs
Parallel
super slow.
universe.
Well, I mean, it's been confirmed also that different dimensions, sometimes time doesn't exist there. Just like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Dormammu.
why they don't age. You know?
I
that's
just think it's
partially-
weird, man. Like, I don't know if I like the loop theory. Like,
I
I don't
think-
like loop theories in general in time travel media unless it's done really, really, really well.
Ooh, then you should
mean,
not watch.
This one's just basic. She shows up, she lets her walk on two paths, and then those sparkles come out of nowhere.
Notice
I
that was the
I
only
didn't-
time she used her power also the entire episode, from what I remember.
Yeah.
No, it
Mhm.
is. And the thing is, you know.
Oh no, she used
when-
it to save some of the people when the veil was
Yeah.
like.
Oh
exploding.
yeah, never mind.
And the thing is, you know, when the grandma was telling that story, how like what was it, like the stars,
I follow
Got
the
it.
stars back
I-
to my Abu.
they made it sound like kind of like a grandiose type of thing. Like maybe she was actually trailing in the air, like across. I don't know. In
It's
my
a 2-year-old child. Think about it.
It's a 2-year-old child. In my head, I'm thinking like, wow, it's probably something really nice to see. Like, you know, it actually in action, how she was saved, how she made it back to.
I'm not gonna lie.
Abu.
I thought Aisha, like her last will was to like create some sort of like aurora borealis, some sort of like star effect to get Sana back to her dad. You know, like I thought that was gonna be, oh, I followed the star because that's what like my mom helped me do because Aisha has the powers. But it's interesting because we never saw Kamala kind of like use her powers in that way where like, oh, if one of her things breaks, she can like reconfigure it into something else. And so like it was a little on the
Yeah,
strange side. And then like there are a lot of plot holes with this in the sense of like, how did she get teleported back in time? Like how is it because like the bangle was broken, but that's on one side of it? How did it happen on this side of
Well,
it?
wait,
And
was the bangle broken or was
No,
it?
the bangle's not broken.
it wasn't
They
broken,
broke.
it was
They
stabbed
broke
back.
the veil. They broke the veil, and that's what sent her back.
No,
And-
I thought somebody stabbed her to the bingo.
Yeah,
they did.
Najma
Najma
stalled, but she
last
didn't
week.
break the bangle. The
No, she
bangle's
didn't.
not- Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then again, that raises another question. And
Actually-
I'm guessing she wasn't really sent back in time in a way. She was just, I mean, she was sent back in time, but like her body is still like at the place where she got struck along with everyone else. And they all wake up at the same time.
I have a
So
theory.
it-
She was stabbed with the same sword that the mom was stabbed with.
That was the same one. That was
Yeah,
the same
so
one.
That's your
maybe you need to use an item from that time period that has some kind of strong emotional connection to be sent to the past.
But we don't know if that's an item from the time period because we still don't know.
We don't
the
know
logic with the
any-
weapons. We don't.
Oh,
This
that's
is
right.
the problem. We're
And
sending-
that's,
Okay, yeah, never mind.
that's what I was saying as far as this whole partition buildup. If you were not satisfied, it is because the tie-in back was not satisfying. I agree.
Yeah.
All she did was make little stars, and it wasn't even difficult. He was right there.
He was
He
right
really
there.
was. He
Mind
was
you,
right there.
mind you, she got lost way too easily. Like I understand, like it's a hectic movement going around. The guy, Hassan, he's worried about his wife, who he just left behind to do whatever. He doesn't even know what's gonna happen to her. So his
He also
mind's
is,
all
like,
over the place.
He's not
And then
fully abled either.
he's not fully abled.
But he
Yeah.
was literally right there.
It was
Honestly,
silly. It was silly. He was literally
He's also
holding her
like 2
hand or
foot nothing, so he can't really see her in the crowd.
No, I'm just saying.
No,
it's
I
like,
just how
if she
he
was not
lost her.
there, I'm sure he would have found her.
It was just silly. And then you have, oh my god, you have like 15 minutes of Ami Sana.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
true. It took forever for them
I'm
to
like,
kind of,
come
Yeah.
on. This is so aggravating. Like, I don't know, man. They could have shot this so much better. Wrote it a lot better. I don't know.
I mean,
Uh,
Najma gave up her chase of the bangle. She's like, "Where's the bangle, Aisha?" And then just stabs her. And
What was her logic
walks
with
away.
that?
That's-
Let me
Mm.
stab the person that knows where the bangles are?
Actually,
don't-
even then,
what was-
how did
what
she
was
not see the stars? Because how did nobody see the stars
Right.
around them? Why did no one stop and say, "Yo, why the hell are there
Yo,
lights?"
witchcraft.
no, they said
Get
we
'em.
got to get the hell out of here. That's what they
But
said.
It's the
Actually,
partition.
no, because they did say back when she was saying the story that she was the only one who could see the stars. So
I thought the dad could see them.
I
Because
don't
that's how the
think-
dad
No.
found them.
It was Kamala's dad who told the story.
Yeah,
So,
is
no,
it-
only Sana could see the stars.
And
yeah.
is that because she's a descendant of Aisha?
you can
I think
you can
that
imply
You
it.
see, man.
So-
Oh God, I hate
That's-
this episode.
yeah.
I hate
hopefully in this next episode
this. It's not.
it will talk about maybe a connection to the astral plane or to something because
Stop
like
it.
there's a
it.
lot of
I want more partition story.
I mean I don't really want-
Well, what I
Stop.
don't want is an exposition dump, which is what we're probably about to get.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but, you know,
you're
they
right.
have to tie
Y'all
in.
being generous.
There's-
I don't think we're getting.
There's
any of
one
that.
part of the bracelet that they never really fully explained, and that's like when she first put it on, she like fell backwards into like this other dimension and then came back up. And
The
same
Nor
thing
dimension.
happened- Well, it's not confirmed that it's the Nor dimension.
Why else would it? It has to be.
But it's not
What are-
confirmed.
It's not confirmed.
But what else would
Not
it be?
confirmed.
Actually,
It
better
could be
story.
another time period. I
Yeah.
don't know. They're just
Astral
pulling
dimension
shit
could
out their
be
ass right now.
something
Listen,
else.
you got to keep it in the realms of what they have given us. They've only ever mentioned the Nor dimension.
True.
We've only ever seen the Nor dimension explained, however brief it was. She definitely went into the Nor dimension.
But then
Um,
why is it that when the mom put it on, she wasn't like, "Oh my god, I just saw home." Like it was like, "Whoa, did you see all of that?" And it was like
All we know is that some Kamala, and again, this is the whole thing about whether or not they're trying to tie it back into Inhumans. She has something inside of her, and she is able to call upon the Nor and use the Nor and manifest fist or whatever it may be.
See,
But-
I don't think they're gonna make her an Inhuman. I think they're just gonna say like she has genetics or she's like a descendant from.
I mean, I don't care whether or not they use the term Inhuman, but they are alluding to her having something, whether that be because she is from the same species, because same thing with Kamran. Now, again, they have a lot of explaining to do. He's got powers, but he doesn't need a bangle. So
Well,
Why didn't Camilla mom also get those powers? Why was she so afraid of the Bengals?
We don't know if she
she
doesn't
was
have the powers.
she explained how her relationship with her mother was very distant because she didn't want to believe in all the magical mumbo
But I would have
jumbo.
expected her to wear it at least one time based on her reaction when we first saw it.
And
She said she was a rebel. that she didn't care for all that.
But it's such a weird thing too, because they made it seem like the grandmom was like just so crazy with the stars and all these crazy powers. Did she only witness this thing as a child?
Yes,
right?
Aisha's dead.
So why is Kamala's mother like so distant from? Where's the whole thing where like, oh, your grandma did not come to your son's wedding, so I knew she wasn't gonna do that because she didn't come to my wedding. Where's this distant relationship coming from?
On that.
They talked about it. Yes, they talked about it in episode 4.
But involving what? Right?
She was being bullied
about it. She kept on talking about not being like seeing the stars, being the theories. Like we don't know what else she saw because anytime Kamala saw something from the bangle, Sana saw it too. So she could have been talking about all these other things that she saw, and she was known as like the neighborhood crazy woman.
Yes, exactly.
Brought dishonor, fine.
And
not like, dishonor. It's just they took that out on.
It is dishonor.
It is dishonor. You're dishonoring the family. They even said it in one of the episodes.
No, that's not what they said.
They definitely 100%. They definitely did. I don't remember which
about
one
the grandmother.
Yeah.
Yes,
the mom went up.
She brought shame. Shame, dishonor.
Yeah, not dishonor. No, not.
Shame is honor. Come on.
No,
they shame the family honor.
Shame and honor are not the same.
Shame and dishonor.
I agree with GrandMasterHoop.
Shame and dishonor.
They're not the same thing.
Tell me what's the difference.
Like
it's not the same thing.
Tell me no. Tell me the difference. Tell me. Okay, if they're not the same thing, then one is clearly A, one is clearly B. Tell me what.
Shame is what they said.
Tell me what the difference is.
What did they say in the show?
I'll say the difference.
No. I want GrandMaster.
No, what did they say in the show?
I want you to help him.
What did they say in the show? What did they say in the show?
Tell
dishonor
me.
Or shame?
No, answer my question first.
No.
Yes. GrandMaster, please help.
We admitted that they said shame. Tell me the difference between shame.
This ain't no dictionary podcast.
Tell me the difference between shame and dishonor. Exactly.
Moving on.
Exactly what I thought.
Not the same.
Ridiculous.
Wait, but to promote the conversation, since I'm not a English first language speaker, I don't understand the definition of shame and dishonor. Can you please help, or you're not willing to help?
We'll talk afterwards.
I'll do it really quick. Shame is kind of like an embarrassment, and that's like, oh my gosh, I am like so ashamed that she's my mom. Dishonor is I did something really bad to the community, and now I'm gonna.
It doesn't have to be the community. It can only be the family.
It can be family,
friends.
You seem to understand now, Toasty. Where did that
I know. English is my first language. You're wrong. So
the veil, touching the veil. Why can't they go home? Can we talk about that?
This is
no idea.
They hinted at it earlier. They said you need to have both bangles in order to open the veil fully for them to go through.
So how did Naja was able to stab the bangle? How was she able to? I mean, not the bangle. How was she able to stab the veil? Because
did she stab the veil?
She stopped the veil. She stopped the veil from happening because her thing was I can stop. I'm the only one that can stop it. And then she stopped it with
why
what?
Is she the only one that can
with what?
And if she was the only one, why didn't the other Jen know about it? Why didn't the black girl know about that? Why did the black girl randomly walk to the veil and die?
To kill off all of those.
What even happened? I don't. Oh my God.
She walked, turned to crystal, turned into a skeleton, and then turned to dust.
Two of them got hit by the veil.
Wait,
one of them got stabbed.
Two of them?
Yes, the black girl and Najma. They're done.
Oh, okay. I thought you were counting on other henchmen.
Okay. No, and then one of them got stabbed by Red Dagger.
And the other one got stabbed by
Waleed.
Okay.
So they're all gone. More? They're all off the table.
Just like that.
There was only the belt guy and
there was 5
the
of them.
Lady.
And the guy with the club. There was the guy with the club.
The black lady was the one with the club?
No, there was a guy. She had a spear. This guy had a club with like a ball on the end of it.
Yeah, he was the one that was popcorn.
That guy, yeah.
Okay.
But they're all off the table. They're all dead.
They're all dead.
That conflict is over, as far as we know.
I mean, it was just. I don't even know what in the hell.
No. Say it. Say what you were about to say.
What was I gonna say?
Yeah, say it.
I was gonna say I didn't know what happened.
No, you were like, it was just lame how they all
Oh,
died.
yeah, it was. It was lame.
It was lame.
Lame is
lame.
ableist. We should not say that word.
Fine, it
Please
was
stop.
Oh my god.
boring how they all died.
It was poor.
dumb.
It was poor
DUM.
writing.
It was
poor.
very poor. I don't know, man. Like Ms. Marvel's like one of those shows. I have not experienced this with like any other Marvel show yet. I feel like it snowballed into like a thing where I was very interested early on. As the season went on, my disinterest kept snowballing into what it is now. I don't care about what happens anymore. They got rid of Najma, who wasn't even all that appealing as a villain, but she was the villain of the series. And she just anticlimactically goes to the Veil, and Kamala gives her a speech saying, "You took away the family of Aisha. Don't take away the only family you have with Kamran." And then she's like, "Oh, you're right, Kamala." God. And she gets obliterated. This is dumb. I hate this.
But Cameron got power. Cameron got power. So it's
in
good
her last
now.
thing,
and
he
that
got
is
powers.
dumb.
But then it's the whole thing is that, let's say their dying wish is like kind of like a genie. Like you have your dying wish to do one thing with your noir power, right? Why is it that the other three henchmen didn't have their dying wish?
They didn't know. No one
And-
told. No
and
one
did
gave
they-
them the handbook.
Did they explain? Because Kamran wasn't around during 1942, right?
No, he was not.
No,
he
he
was
was
born
not.
after.
So okay. So another thing they haven't touched on is you
Is the
have
dad.
Najma criticizing Aisha for hiding with a family, raising a family, and wanting to just stay on Earth. But then there's a gap in the history where Najma has a kid with who knows who, and you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah, and the
weird.
other guys in our group are okay with that.
They were okay with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like did she just shack up with someone while
Some British guy. She should check up with some British guy in
a
England.
British guy? Does he have a
No.
British accent?
Yeah,
Yeah,
does
because he
have
made a
British
joke. He
accent.
said he was British.
Yeah, he has a
pretended
British
to be-
accent.
Yeah, he's supposed to be from
Interesting.
England. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Wow.
That
Well, starting a family was not the
Wow.
problem. It was the fact that Aisha wanted to run away with her family and have nothing to do with the clandestines because they wanted to destroy the world.
yeah, but also
That's why she ran away.
what a slap to the face that, like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say slap to the face. I'm just
No,
gonna
no,
stop
you
there.
you can say it. Go ahead.
I don't want to get in trouble.
please, I said worse.
Wait, what's the problem?
Well,
Slap
I'm
to
just
the-
saying, what a slap to the face that, like, as her good friend is fleeing a country because of the British people, she ends up. I don't feel comfortable saying
Oh,
it.
stop. It's okay. Time
It's
changes.
fine.
Please,
So-
yes.
A
Okay,
country-
Grandmaster
like-
said worse.
She's
No, what I'm saying
backing
is
up with a British guy.
that's
after, like, the
okay.
whole-
Not all British people are evil.
To be
I
fair,
know, but-
no. To be fair, Darce, it could have been Indian British guy because there's a lot of Indians.
You're right.
We don't know if he's
Okay.
mixed. We don't know if he's
Right.
mixed.
He
And
could have just been raised in,
could've- yeah,
in
just been
Britain.
raised-
yeah,
Are you
Okay.
saying you can't enjoy the company of a German person
What?
because of all that Germany has done to the world?
Oh, that okay.
Oh no, I was just
I
saying
guess.
like it was just weird because like partition is happening. I'm saying like within the same time frame.
no, but actually no, because it's
we
like
don't-
30 years later.
Yeah,
It
we
is
don't
30
know
years.
when Kamran was born. Yeah.
No, we do. He's about the same age as Kamala. He's
But we
Oh,
don't know what
well, there you
they're like, since they're clandestines. We don't know how quickly they age, how slowly.
Yes,
they
that
but
part,
age.
no,
that
but
part.
we can because we can base it on the mom, and we can also base it on the grandma, and we can base it on Kamala. All of them are
Oh, so they age
descended.
normally. They
Yeah,
age
all of
normally.
them are descendant of Jen.
But
So
could
we have
you-
to
could
assume
you
that
say-
the half bloods age normally.
Could you say the blood gets diluted though, the further down
But
the
you would,
lines?
but they could also do that BS Dragon Ball logic, where it's easier for you to turn Super Saiyan the further you are down the line. I mean, that's what they're
We're not gonna
doing.
talk about
Stupidity.
I know, but no, that's the logic that they had. Think about it. The
Goodness.
grandma, for some reason, even though she wore the bangle, never had any powers, from what we know. The mom, we have to assume in all 20 years or 17 years before she ran out to go see Bon Jovi, she never wore the bangle. Or if she did, she never activated her power. Yet her daughter, so the great-granddaughter of Aisha, was able to activate the power the first time.
I mean, it could also play into like the destiny part of it.
I mean, I hate Destiny. Destiny's bullshit because Destiny means that there's
Destiny,
no character
they did it already
development.
with the loop. They did it already with the loop. There was a
Yeah,
destiny to go to the past so that the prophecy can be fulfilled that the stars led her back to her father.
Destiny is goddamn bullshit, man.
I would
no
like
character
to say,
development.
I do think another thing I liked about this episode, call it rushed or call it not as fleshed out, but I did like how they all came together, Kamala, grandmother, and mother. And I especially like how when Kamala's mother saw her doing the nightlight stuff, instead she briefly goes like, "You're that nightlight girl," and then she's like, "Who is this?" Like more concerned about the boy.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
But it also makes me think too, maybe her mother knew more than she actually let on, because she was not that surprised.
But we just have to assume.
No, we have to assume, but be also like, it wasn't such a point of topic, you know.
Actually, no, she did not know because the grandma told her, "I told you we were magic." When the mom questioned it, the grandma was like, "I told you we're magic."
You know, she's not like.
She's not portraying that.
Yeah, I think she's actually more embarrassed than anything because she grew up her whole life saying my mom is like a little on the crazy side. I have to like basically go to another country to avoid the shame that comes from this. Like I feel like that's more of, she feels more embarrassed now that she never believed her mom. And in a way that is kind of like a good point. Like if my parents were trying to tell me something, I'm like, y'all are crazy, like I'm not gonna listen to you, and then it comes out that they were right this whole time, that like we are aliens or something, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
It's called
so
the
embarrassed.
theory.
Why did I live my whole life thinking otherwise, you know?
It's called the theory of revolutions. You rebel against the powers that would be, i.e. your parents, but then when you're off on your own and you struggle, you always go back to the parent country at one point to help solve the issues. I did a whole paper on it.
Like the prodigal son.
If I can find it, I'll send it to you. It's the theory of revolutions, but I combined it with a mother-daughter relationship. So there is yes.
I did.
Either way, I like what they did here.
I did a paper on Incredible Hulk being toxic masculinity. That was a fun paper.
Yes, you told me about that. That does sound like a fun one.
I did a paper on the Russian Revolution. That was fun.
Enough about revolutions. So
the final part of this episode, though, I just want to like really quickly say, I kind of like seeing the two of the guys come together. I can't remember.
Brian and Cameron.
Bruno
and Cameron.
Brian. No, that was intentional.
He was sincere. He was.
No, you guys don't know me, Dad.
I like that they were together, but then I also like there's too much missing with that. Like I wish they went back and forth like throughout some of this that episode of like, hey, like, look at what I can do now. I know that you helped Kamala with her stuff. Like, what's going on? And then like, it was just a really rushed, like 2 minutes that ended in this episode. So
you mean how Bruno lives alone in a 2-story building?
He's not
runs
alone. I
a
think
store.
Someone lives below. No.
Wait,
no.
He was saying that
he live with his uncle.
He lives with his aunt and uncle.
His Uncle Ben?
I've never seen them.
Oh,
Uncle Luca.
Does Bruno give you vibes of another actor?
Do you want to know why he gives you vibes of another actor?
No, I was gonna ask you. You know
Okay,
why?
go ahead.
Yeah, because he was supposed.
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go since you all wanna
go first.
Take it.
I actually don't remember the name of the actor, but he was supposed to play Spider-Man.
He was in the running. He was in the
running. He was like. Didn't he say he was like in the top 5 or something?
Yes,
he was in the final consideration for,
and it shows. He is giving mad Tom Holland. Like they dang near talk the same, which is funny because Tom Holland's doing a American accent the whole time. So,
Mm,
but yeah, it's a rushed affair. Honestly, you didn't even have to end it at this point. I might have been better off.
It was weird.
And again,
the way-
what's the CDC doing if that's them attacking them?
Well, isn't it the logic that they're attacking Kamran? Because when the robot went there,
but they blew up a whole
It was by accident.
But that was an accident. That was an accident. Because
but then again,
foolishness.
It is foolishness, but it was as clowns as they are, it was unintentional. It went in, it saw Kamran, it said, "Oh, target locked. That's what we're looking for." Kamran freaks out and says,
Civilians.
No, too late. No, he only sees Kamran. Bam, hits him, and like, oh no, my missile, boom, and then blows up the bottom half of the sword.
But that was my point. Those drones had weapons. So when they were chasing Kamala in the earlier episode, episode 2, it shows that they wanted to capture with weapons. They didn't have good intention.
No.
Kamran's a fugitive at this point.
Kamran's a fugitive, and
But he's only a fugitive because they captured him.
No, but they captured him because he was attacking people at the party.
Well, the clandestines were, and
yeah. So he's automatically lumped in with these people are terrorists or evil or whatever. So we got to capture them and bring them in at any cost.
I call bullshit because they were able to find poor Cameron within a day. Yet they couldn't find Kamala that was running around town using her power everywhere.
Well, they weren't actively looking for Kamala. They didn't really know.
It's not called the CDC.
Oh, sorry. It's the DODC. They're bad. They're terrible.
And I mean, who knows if maybe like Kamran was like hit with like a tracker or something while he was in prison.
We can't assume,
but like it does make sense that they were able to lock onto him a little bit easier than Kamala, who they had no leads on who Kamala was.
I don't want to give this show much credit at all because when it comes to explanation and tying things together, they have not done a good job at all.
You could call it mid-Marvel. As a matter of
fact. Hey, I said that. I truly believe they said we need something to impose on this Bruno Kamran meeting, and they said let's just put the DODC robot there. No tracker. No.
It could have just ended with Cameron showing Bruno his power, and boom, just ending like this.
Yeah,
that's how it could have ended with. Like that would have been the perfect ending.
Yeah, they could have done something where when Najma sacrificed herself, you didn't know what she did, and then at the end when he meets Bruno, it's like, oh, look at this, and then he does the power, boom, roll credits. You're like,
he could have done it. He could have even done it by accident when they were shaking hands. He shakes hand, something happened. Bruno get blasted. He's like, what the hell? You have to.
I honestly think it would have been better if he was like, hey, Brian, I'm so sorry. I don't have anybody else to go to. I'm kind of running away. Can I hide out here for a little bit with you? And then while he's like getting set up in Bruno's place, his mom's weird power comes over him, and then he's like, whoa, what is this? And then that's like I would rather have that than like him behind a dumpster, like, oh, like, you know.
The major issue is there is no pressing matter for Kamala to get back to the States.
Now
there's no
save her friend from damage control.
But she has no idea.
She will hear it in the news. Local Bugetta got destroyed by a bomb.
Well, that's my issue is that she right now is like everything's okay. So it's gonna have to, literally in the finale, the first opening thing is gonna have to be her catching up. She's playing catch up.
I like how the fact they never communicated either during the entire thing. She hasn't texted or talked to Bruno in the last 2 episodes.
She did try to talk to Nakia, but she couldn't reach her.
Yeah,
granted, she was texting her on a plane, which was like, I don't even think you got minutes up there.
And we still don't know what
planes have Wi-Fi.
We still don't know what Nakia's reaction is to all this either, because we got that one scene where they broke out of the party. Right at an episode 3.
You didn't tell me.
You didn't tell me. Yeah. Oh no, bam! We don't know what's going on with her. We don't know if she hates Kamala. We don't know if she doesn't care anymore. We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
This is the first time with a Marvel show where we're going into the finale, at least for me, and I am literally asking, how are they going to stretch this to 40, 30, 40, 50 minutes? Because think about it. All the other shows that we watched, Loki, Captain Soldier Boy Man, WandaVision, the recent one, Moon Knight. Our question going in is, how are they gonna wrap up everything in just this episode? Now it's the opposite. Now I'm going in wondering, what are you gonna do for the next 30 to 40 minutes? I should not be feeling that way.
I can tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sleep. So.
Oh, you're gonna sleep.
Oh, you're gonna sleep. You're gonna sleep. You're gonna close your eyes the whole episode and come in and say it was mid. It was.
He
mid.
ain't coming on.
100%. 100%.
Coming on.
Of course, of course. Any final thoughts on what you need this finale to do? Because this finale needs to blow me out of the water for me to recover from how I feel about this show. I feel like it's not gonna do that, but I'm not feeling it, man.
That suit better look so dang good. And
she better get the suit. I'm tired of waiting. She better get that damn suit.
Also, if she does her actual stretchy powers, that could be cool. But really, I just explain what's going on here, and I'll be okay.
I'm not expecting
to see some sort of allusion to the Marvels, because as of right now, why in tarnation is Monica Rambeau or Carol Danvers going to care about
the Bengals?
You're Kamala Khan.
The Bengals.
Hey, Kamala Khan.
Ew.
That's it. That's all it's gonna be.
Was that your Brie Larson impersonation?
Yes, it was, and it was terribly accurate that it's embarrassing. I don't like that. I do not like. That's how good it was, and I'm ashamed that it's that accurate because it should not.
Y'all are horrible.
But
don't expect anything.
It's the Bengals. You know.
Yeah.
God, what's her name? Captain Marvel. She's already established as looking for like those cosmic items from Shang-Chi. They're gonna tie it in with the Bongos in some way. She's gonna make the same line that Grandmaster said. She's gonna come in.
Hey, Kamala Khan.
I don't expect anything. I already smell the garbage coming, and I'm not excited to see it. So,
but you're gonna go dumpster diving in the final. You're gonna dive
100%. We have to.
Good.
Miss Marvel's gonna be there. So Captain Marvel's gonna be there. So I'm excited.
Maybe.
And that might even show some of the
Eternals. Oh, that's the ending. That's the ending. It's gonna be exactly what Grandmaster said. She's gonna fly in.
No, she's not even gonna fly in. God. They're gonna hear a noise. They're gonna hear a noise in the window. Her, Bruno, and Cameron are gonna look out to the window, and Miss Captain Morgan say, "Hey, boom, ending."
Nah, I think if anything, they're gonna send either a Skrull or they're gonna send Monica. They're not gonna get Brie in there.
They are.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. Our predictions are on the table. We'll wait until next week. It is the season finale or even the series finale, because again, this is a limited series. So let's see how they try to tie this all into the Miss Marvel sequel. I'm sorry, the Captain Marvel sequel titled The Marvels. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But you guys have our thoughts. Let us know yours in the comments below, wherever you're listening to us on, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at the Yonkō Table. And for the video portion, check out at DrJaceAttorney on YouTube. And the conversation does not end here as well. Check out our Patreon to get access to our Discord, where you'll likely hear us ranting about Miss Marvel for the next couple days. We'll likely be going back and forth, discussing what's the difference between shame and dishonor, what are we looking forward to in the finale, all of that. So check it out if you want to join the conversation. But with that, everyone, I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop, and Supernova Darce and Toasty. Signing off, guys, and take care.